I strongly believe that One Piece is too long in the negative sense. It is sitting at 1000 plus chapters, and the end doesn't seem to be in sight. There are other battle manga that have lasted for long periods of time. Naruto has 700 chapters, Bleach has 686, and Fairy Tail has 545. There are several reasons that make it so long, but I believe there is one major source that these other long battle manga don't have, and that is that One Piece bites off too much. I made a video titled Adding New Arcs that breaks down the formula for battle manga to extend their lengths without ruining the story. For this video, I will make a food analogy. Manga like Bleach and others mentioned in that video put food on their plate for a story arc. By the end of the arc, they have finished about 90% of their food and take the 10% into the next plate for the next arc. Then they repeat this cycle. The next arc can be based on the remains of the previous arc in order to create continuity. This strategy allows the author to end the story at several spots, but also continue the story if they so desire. Naruto does this to a degree, but instead of leaving 10% after each plate, the leftovers keep piling up. Plot threads and concepts like the Akatsuki, Obito, Madara, the Sage of Six Paths, Sasuke's Revenge, Orochimaru, and more kept building up as the story continued. But all of these leftovers weren't too much because they were all handled before or during the 4th Shinobi War. Orochimaru was a plot point that was introduced in the Chunin exams and taken care of in the Itachi pursuit. Though he was brought back again, he was no longer a threat. Sasuke's Revenge started in the first arc and ended in the Fated Battle arc. The Akatsuki started in the search for Tsunade and ended in Pain's assault. Most of the other ongoing plots were ended in the war. One Piece follows this style more than the other. It keeps building up on plot points and leftovers. The difference between Naruto and One Piece is that Naruto gradually tackles these points while One Piece just lets them build, and that is the major issue. Let's start with the character's dreams. Luffy wants to become Pirate King, which will happen when he finds the One Piece at the end of the story. This is not much of a problem. Zoro wants to become the greatest swordsman, and right now that is Mihawk. Mihawk has a supreme grade sword, and since Zoro's grade swords have been leveling up throughout the story, it's not far-fetched to believe that he will get at least one supreme grade sword before fighting Mihawk. So that's 2 plot points, the Supreme Sword and fighting Mihawk. Nami wants to map the world, and that'll happen once the story ends, so like Luffy's, this isn't an issue. Usopp wants to become a brave warrior. There will probably be a moment that solidifies this, like with Zoro, so that's 3. He also wants to visit Elbaf, that's 4. Sanji wants to find the All Blue, that's 5. Chopper wants to become a great doctor. Same deal with Zoro and Usopp, that makes 6. Robin wants to find the Rio Poneglyph, 7. Frankie wants to create a dream ship, which he has. Brook wants to return to Laboon, that's 8. Jinbei wants coexistence between fishmen and humans, that's 9. 9 plot points that need to be resolved before the story ends. That's a lot, especially if we assume that all of them won't be resolved on the same island, but that's not the end. From Water 7 to Marine Ford, Aokiji and the Admirals become a plot thread, making the Marines an actual threat. They further their importance when Akainu kills Ace. Aokiji left, and now Fujitora and Green Bull have been added. These 4 or 5 need to be defeated, switch sides, or have some kind of conclusion. 10 plot points. Then there's the Yonko. Big Mom, Kaido, and Blackbeard need to be dealt with. 2 of them are currently being dealt with in Wano. Kaido will probably lose at the end, but Big Mom might still be a lingering threat. And Blackbeard still exists, so that's 11 points. Then there's the Supernova 11. They've been hyped up but rarely used. Some are being used in Wano right now, but all of them need to get some kind of closure before the story ends, 12 points. The same thing goes for the Shichibukai, making 13. The Straw Hat Grand Fleet needs to be used, making it 14. The Ancient Weapons still need to make an impact, raising it to 15. And the Will of D still needs to be capitalized upon, putting the number of unresolved plot points at 16. There are 16 things that need to be done satisfactorily before One Piece ends, and we are already over 1000 chapters. Unlike Bleach, Hakusho, or Kenshin, One Piece can't just end whenever it wants because of all of these leftovers. And unlike Naruto, One Piece hasn't slowly been eating the leftovers. Instead, it's been letting them build while it piles more food on for each arc. This is the main reason why One Piece is too long and will only get longer. The next issue is smaller but still noteworthy, and that is what I call reinvention. A manga that tells basically the same story for 1000 chapters is almost always too long in a negative way in my book, but there is a way to avoid that, and that is by reinvention. JoJo is the greatest example of this. It is currently at 955 chapters total, but I don't consider it too long. A big part of that is because it follows the new arc formula that Bleach and others used, but another reason is because it keeps reinventing itself with each part. There are 8 parts, and each one has a brand new cast of characters to replace the old ones. Some characters move on from previous parts, but not many. Each part feels different enough from the last. That way, it never feels like the manga is telling one story that just keeps dragging on. AOT also does this reinvention, but the story is much shorter. AOT has 139 monthly chapters, which I personally double when comparing it to weekly manga, making it about 278 chapters. This manga could have reached 1000 chapters in its style, and it wouldn't have felt too long because of the way the world keeps changing. While it doesn't reset the cast and plot like AOT, it does constantly change the story style and sometimes even the genre. Season 1 is an apocalyptic thriller, Season 2 is a more character-driven story, Season 3 is a political drama, an uprising that turns into a mini war between two nations, and the final season is a straight-up war between two enemy countries. The story kept making permanent changes to its storytelling style, and this kept the story fresh. Most battle manga don't reinvent themselves, so reaching 1000 chapters is too long. If One Piece constantly reinvented itself throughout these 1000 chapters, it might not have been considered too long for me. In conclusion, One Piece is too long because at 1000 chapters, it has too many leftover plot points that still need to be addressed in a satisfying manner, and it doesn't reinvent itself to keep the story feeling new. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and check out my manga for free online. If you enjoy my content, please consider donating to my Patreon. All important links will be in the description.